I want to give you another perspective on promotion because, again, I want you to, your mind, this is all about your mindset and how you're viewing this, because this will form your future decisions on how you're going to make content, what your strategies are going to be, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay? One of my favorite marketing gurus is Seth Godin. If you haven't heard of Seth Godin and marketing in any way, shape, or form, or just super intellectual conversation turns you on, this is your guy, okay? He sums up marketing, or let's call it promo because you hate marketing, in a very simple, eloquent, and very powerful 7-word sentence. People like us buy products like that. People like us buy products like that. If you turn that into artist terms, it means you would say people like us love artists like that. That's what marketing is. Think about what people who drive Ford trucks have to say about Chevys, and what people who drive Chevy trucks have to say about Fords, and what people who drive Beamers have to say about everything else, right? Or what certain people who love, this guitar player or that guitar player, this band or that band. It's a tribe that you're creating, right? And how you can define how your music is going to infiltrate a market is called the law of diffusion of innovation. Okay, and I also just call it the law of diffusion. Simon Sinek calls it the law of diffusion of innovation. If you haven't seen that little tidbit, it's a few minutes long video on YouTube. Go and watch it. But this is a law of diffusion of marketing. Okay, and this is a fact. People come into the markets at different times for different things. Everybody has to come in order. The first 2.5% of the market are called the pioneers. All right. These are the people that absolutely have to be first at everything. These are the people who camped out overnight to buy the very first iPhone when they could have waited a week and gone to the store and got it. These are the people who paid $40,000 for a flat screen, even though the technology was substandard, because they knew that they didn't care. They had to be first. Okay. They pride themselves on being first. The next part of the market, it looks like a sine wave. So right here, 2.5%. Those are the pioneers. The next 13.5%, right? So we're just kind of starting to climb up a little bit. Those are called the early adopters. So the first 2.5% pioneers, next 13.5% early adopters. Early adopters want to be first-ish. So these are the people that wanted to be the first one in their community and their circle of friends, of influence, to have the iPhone, but they're not going to wait overnight to get it. And they're the ones that are going to wait 6 months to a year for the prices to come down on the flat screens and for the technology to get better. And then they're going to go into the market and get that because they still want to be the first one on their block to get it. It makes them feel prideful. They are first. Then we hit what they call the hockey stick, right? And that's the early majority. That's 34% of the market. The important why I'm telling you this is that the early majority, and then the next 34% is the late majority, and that's where the slope goes down. And then at the very end, the last 16% of the market are laggards. Laggards are people like they bought touch-tone phones. They started buying touch-tone phones because rotary phones weren't available anymore. Okay? Laggards will play CDs and not stream until they buy a car that just doesn't come with a CD player anymore. And then they're going to have to stream. You know my point? So y'all know people like this, right? So my point about the law of diffusion of marketing, and this matters in the music industry, okay? Because we're going to talk about this. I'm going to blow your mind with my point on this. Is that the early majority, that 34% of the market, doesn't come into the market until after the pioneers and the early adopters. They're not coming in until there's enough people in there already. So if you think about that in terms of, let's say, the Nirvana Nevermind record, right? The first 400,000 records of Nirvana were bought by people who really freaking love Nirvana and know exactly who they are and have been following them the whole time. The other 9.6 million were bought by people who want to identify with people who love Nirvana. You see what I'm saying? So the problem in the business model is that you have, if you're marketing towards the majority all the time, and this is the way broadcast works. Broadcast marketing is spray and pray. You just got to hit it with everybody and hope it catches fire. But it still doesn't catch fire until there's a big enough party of the pioneers and the early adopters. And by the way, these two groups together, not going to pay your bills. It's not enough to make a living. You need the majority, okay? But you're not going to get the majority until you get those people first. With broadcast, it's spray and pray everywhere. And you hope that it catches on.